very good evening to you. Many thanks for joining us tonight on the broadcast. You're watching KUTV News at 9. Let's get a look at the highlights. The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights refutes claims of providing false data regarding the Githurai killings. Directorate of Criminal Investigation denies claims of abduction of Alfred Keter, deeming it a lawful arrest. A number of Kenyans continue to express mistrust in President William Ruto's presidency despite his address to the nation last night. We will not back down. Gen Z vow to proceed with Occupy Everywhere as planned come tomorrow.
This is KUTV Primetime News with Anyango, Sylvia.
That's right, and our sign language interpreter tonight is John Opio. Remember, this podcast is also live on YouTube at KUTV News Kenya, and you can engage with us on X at KUTV_Kenya at Anyango Sylvia KE. We begin. Now, President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua have repeatedly contradicted public concern coming in less than 2 weeks amid the ongoing national unrest over the controversial Finance Bill 2024-2025. The two seem to be reading different script after their remarks on extrajudicial killings, Githurai massacre, and the Finance Bill. James Baraka with more details.
In a troubling display of discord within the highest ranks of Kenya's government, President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua have been witnessed to seemingly operate in a rift. While addressing the issue of extrajudicial killings in Kenya, the two have in a stark contrast offered opposing statements, with President Ruto assuring the nation that his administration has successfully dealt with the issue, remarks that were openly refuted by his deputy.
I have made sure that there is no extrajudicial killing in Kenya.
The President and I gave a categorical promise to the people of Kenya that the issue of abductions and extrajudicial killings will never happen again. Sadly, this is back.
The division further escalated in their responses to the alleged massacre in Githurai 45 as the head of state categorically denied the occurrence of such an incident, with the second in command's affirmation appearing to directly challenge his boss's narrative.
Were 20 people killed in Githurai? Really? There was no massacre in Githurai. Mr. President, there was one person who was shot by the police.
Additionally, this rift extended to their views on the Finance Bill 2024, particularly regarding how the members of parliament voted for or against it.
Members of parliament who voted no have already been targeted by the National Intelligence Service for harassment for their political stand.
The MPs who voted yes are the true heroes of Kenya.
Msitorokea wananchi. Hata kama mliteleza kidogo mkuje muombe msamaha kwa wananchi.
As the nationwide protests continue to mount pressure against the government, the alleged rift between President Ruto and his deputy adds to the growing uncertainty and political tension in Kenya at a time when the two are expected to be uniting the country. James Baraka, KUTV News.
And at a direct round-table chat with the media on Sunday at State House, Nairobi, President William Ruto admitted that his government has failed in engaging the youth. The head of state has, however, accepted an engagement with Gen Z via any platform, including X Space, popularly known as Twitter, on Thursday, July 4th or Friday, July 5th, to discuss issues affecting them.
President William Ruto has accepted to participate in a direct conversation with youth via Twitter Space on Thursday, July 4th or Friday, July 5th to discuss about taxation, unemployment, corruption and all issues. The president's decision comes after his plan to invite Gen Z leaders in parliament hit a stumbling block, for Gen Z stated that they don't have any leader to represent them, for they are united.
I am looking forward to this engagement in the space that you will recommend. I'm told X is the space that you want us to engage. And I have committed that I will find myself into that space. I will ask one of you guys in that space to host us so that we can have this conversation as I do what I must do to get the country moving forward.
The protests, which turned violent and resulted to over 20 deaths and extensive property damages estimated at 2.4 billion Kenya shillings, have placed Ruto's administration under intense scrutiny. The engagement in X is expected to provide the way forward for Gen Zs who have been holding debates stating that Ruto should apologize for the deaths before discussing any other issue. The issue of police brutality has highly been criticized, with the head of state expected to address this in the engagement. Ruto condemned the violence, attributing it to criminal elements taking advantage of the situation, emphasizing inclusivity and dialogue to address pressing issues and rebuild public confidence in his leadership. Now the question that remains is, will Gen Zs give Ruto space to highlight his proposals? Nyabuti Jael, KUTV.
And the Office of the Directorate of Criminal Investigation has refuted claims that they were responsible for the abductions of former Nandi Hills Member of Parliament Alfred Keter on Sunday at Kileleshwa. However, it explained on their social media platform X that the alleged abduction was a lawful arrest carried out by police officers after Keter resisted arrest earlier the same day.
Former Nandi Hills Member of Parliament Alfred Keter, who was abducted on Sunday in Kileleshwa in a viral video that caused intense outrage among Kenyans on social media, is now free. The DCI denied the abduction claims, insisting that the dramatic arrest was carried out by the National Police Service officers due to Keter resisting arrest earlier during the day. He was released a few hours later from Kamukonji Police Station. President William Ruto, during his interview yesterday with the press, downplayed the abductions as simply arrests being carried out by police officers after the alleged abductees failed to comply with the authorities.
If the police summon Linus Kaikai and Linus Kaikai refuses to go to the police, are the police not entitled to come and look for you? When the police come to arrest you after they have summoned you and you didn't show up, is that an abduction?
Today, Law Society of Kenya, led by President Faith Odhiambo, announced that Paul Mwangi alias Gigi, who was highly active in the anti-finance bill demonstrations, was abducted in Githurai. Odhiambo has demanded for the immediate release of Gigi, whose location is unknown. Elsewhere, Jackson Kihara, a police officer who uploaded photographs holding #RejectFinanceBill placards, is allegedly missing. His lawyer claims that DCI officers had earlier looked for him at his house but only found his wife. His distressed family now fears that Kihara was likely abducted. Despite the evident abductions of Keter and other popular protesters such as Shad Khalif and Dr. Austin Omondi, causing intense uproar among Kenyans, the responsible authorities are clearly not stopping, as abduction cases are still on the rise. Victor Washira, KUTV.
Regarding the claims of mass killings in Githurai, the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, KNCHR, has today refuted President William Ruto's sentiments that allege that the commission had provided false information about the alleged mass Githurai killings last week. Here's the complete statement.
Following President William Ruto's statement in a media interview yesterday at State House, Nairobi, Roslyn Odede, chairperson of the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, denied claims that the commission provided false data regarding the alleged Githurai killings last week.
Two things. The same Kenya Human Rights Commission,
Kenya National Commission,
the government agency. Yeah, the government agency.
Yes.
Told the nation that there was a massacre in Githurai and 20 people were killed in Githurai. Were 20 people killed in Githurai? Really?
The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights does not have records reports of 20 people.
No, but that's their statement. It is a statement that is public, you know. So the same Kenya Human Rights, Kenya Commission, National Human Rights Commission told the country a blatant fake news falsehood. That there was a massacre. You ask me a question. Allow me to answer. An organization that is as reckless as to say there was a massacre when there was none, now is telling us there are 24, the police are saying 19. We will find out where the numbers are. But that is the credibility of the organization that you're telling.
Odede explained that they had not issued any statement about Githurai, adding that during their last meeting with the press, they had made it clear that they did not have sufficient information and were still in the process of verifying incidents in Githurai, Rongai, Migori, Nakuru and other parts of the country. Odede clarified that the data they released included information that was in the Commission's possession at that time. According to that report, 22 deaths had been reported as of Wednesday when they made their statement, and that is exactly what they reported. As of today, their data shows 24 deaths since the protest began, with 32 people still missing. Additionally, according to the report, 361 people were injured and 627 were arrested. According to Amnesty Kenya, the abductions and detentions were inconsistent, with many of those abducted by government officials not being charged or registered at police stations. Anyango, Sylvia, KUTV.
A day after a heated conversation with journalists from various media stations, seemingly President William Ruto is yet to convince the doubtful hearts of Kenyans who think that the country is not in safe hands and that the president should resign from office. Take a look.
Kenyans were filled with rage and doubt following yesterday's interview between President William Ruto and a couple of journalists, which saw the president dodge key questions or unsatisfactory answer others, fueling the already furious Kenyans. Some Kenyans have explained that there are reasons for participating in the demonstrations tomorrow, with the view that the president appears to be a big liar and a deceiver. According to them, the president promised to ease the burden of taxation on Kenyans, which he has not done yet.
Our president, I'm a perfect one art. When he's not lying, he's flying. So tunauliza, did we elect a tourist or we elected a president to serve us? Because tukihesabu zile siku amefly na zile siku ambazo amekuwa kwa nchi, utapata zile siku amefly ziko over.
Additionally, others have mentioned the unjust demolition of their homes as a reason for their anger, citing that they were targeted because they are poor. Some have advised the president to dismiss the police and hand over security responsibilities to the military if the police have failed to fulfill their duties.
Wanajeshi wanakuwa kwa barabara wanafanya nini? Rais mwenyewe anajua kwa nini hawa watu wako kwa barabara. Na hawa watu wametumwa kwa 47 counties. Eti wanaenda kuzuia maandamano. Sio kuzuia. Nikisikia statement ya rais jana akiwa anaojiwa, anasema ati hao watapeana reinforcement kwa polisi wetu. Inamaanisha polisi wameshindwa tayari.
Although some citizens are dissatisfied with the way the president is exercising his authority, there are those who support him, insisting that the president cannot perform the duties of his subordinates and should not be blamed for their failures.
If the whole issue was all about finance bill, then why shout the name of the president and say that Ruto must go? Because constitutionally, the president cannot react on the document before the document reaches his office in the State House for him to assent the signature.
It is clear that the finance bill is not the only issue the president needs to address to restore his credibility among Kenyans, with Kenyans stating that his entire leadership approach requires reforms. Edward Nyamo, KUTV.
Despite scheduled Generation Z plans for today to put up posters and rogue police officers and government officials who voted in support of the Finance Bill 2024, the atmosphere in Nairobi was tranquil. A major reason behind this is the presence of military officers deployed to maintain peace in the country ahead of tomorrow's protests.
In the 7 days of justice plan shared online, young citizens had scheduled to put up posters of rogue police officers who took the lives of protesters and government officials who are in support of the Finance Bill 2024 on streets all over the country today. In the streets of Nairobi earlier in the day, the number of people present was much smaller than that expected for a day with such significant plans. In many parts of Nairobi, including Nairobi Central Business District CBD and other places within Nairobi town, places along Thika Road, Ngong Road and Kileleshwa among others, there was no placing of posters observed. The state of calm experienced can be attributed to the presence of military officers in the streets maintaining peace. Citizens have expressed their distaste towards the alleged intimidation by military officers.
Kama wewe ni rais, please, ukijua ni polisi bado wanatulinda, toa hao wanajeshi kwa barabara na uwatoe kwa 47 counties ili tujue ya kwamba tuko na polisi wanatulinda, na kama hatuna polisi wanatulinda, atuambie ni jeshi sasa ndio wanatulinda.
With the Generation Z poster initiative and protests expected to resume tomorrow, the government has set up measures to ensure least possible damage as an outcome. In the streets of the Central Business District, military officers were seen stationed in different areas. The presence of the military on the streets, a stark reminder of the current unrest in the country, raises more questions on what is to be expected in the oncoming protests. Natalie Kioko, KUTV.
Thank you, Natalie. And on that note, we take a very fast break on the broadcast. We'll be back with more stories.
Ni kaunti maarufu kwa kuzalisha maziwa na ukuzaji wa majani chai. Pia, serikali ya kaunti inawahimiza wakulima kukumbatia mitindo mingine ya kilimo kuzidisha mapato.
Kama kuna kikundi moja inafanya biashara ya kuuza kuku, hao pia tumewafadhili kuwafunza jinsi ya kuhandle zile kuku kwa sababu wanaleta kwa wingi.
Haya yote tunakuletea katika Boresha Kilimo, toleo la kaunti ya Bomet.
Kilimo ni nguzo kubwa kwa ujenzi wa taifa.
Access to knowledge, solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
You are watching KUTV Primetime News with Anyango Sylvia.
Welcome back. Remember to keep engaging with us on X at KUTV_Kenya at Anyango Sylvia KE. Now, despite President William Ruto addressing a media briefing yesterday calling on Gen Zs to desist from protesting, the protests have today continued in various parts of the country, with the big day scheduled for Tuesday, where protesters plan to occupy all roads. The Gen Z in various social media platforms have vowed not to back down as they stress on occupying State House at all costs. Listen in.
The Gen Zs have vowed to gather in the streets all over the country to continue the fight against the country's governance and overtaxation in all aspects of livelihood as Kenyans. The protests, which are entering the second phase, will see Gen Z occupying State House as proposed in their series of events. The series of events are as follows. Today, protesters printed faces of murderous police and treacherous members of parliament and stick them everywhere on major roads. Tuesday has been declared to be a public holiday by the Gen Zs, where all activities are expected to halt as the protesters occupy all roads. Wednesday has been scheduled as a day to identify the police officers, members of parliament and agents of the government, where they live, hide and who they report to. On Thursday, the Gen Z will occupy all roads and sit down with placards held high. However, President Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua in their speeches in different churches on Sunday urged the Gen Zs to stop their protests since the plea was heard and that the government was working on their demands.
Tuweke amani katika taifa letu la Kenya. Tusikubali fujo. Tusikubali uharibifu wa mali. Tusikubali maisha ipotee. Sisi wote ni ndugu moja, watu wa taifa moja la Kenya.
And I want to ask our young people, now that the president has guided tuongee maneno ya mambo ya kutoka kwa barabara tuachane naye. It is unnecessary now because already the government has accepted we need to engage. So hakuna haja ya mvutano, loss of lives, vitu kuchomwa, hakuna haja.
The demands tabled by Gen Z include employment of doctors and teachers on permanent and pensionable terms, firing of irresponsible cabinet secretaries and members of parliament, abolition of funding allocated to the first and second lady offices, reviewing of members of parliament salaries, scrapping the housing levy, constitute IEBC within 30 days, recall police officers sent to Haiti, scrap wasteful positions of women rep and use their money to pay public servants, stop state capture and resign for selling the country to IMF. The Gen Z's further in their X accounts have displayed their rage after the president's interview with the media, terming the president as irresponsible based on the killings that occurred during the protests countrywide. Kipto Hilda, KUTV.
Learners are set to return to school from today despite delays in capitation. Due to these delays, parents face the risk of incurring additional costs as school principals have issued letters warning students with outstanding fee balances, warning that students with outstanding fee balances will not be allowed in class. However, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua earlier in Mombasa noted that the government needs more time to release the funds.
Amid these delays in capitation, learners are expected to return to school as from today, a situation that places a financial strain on families who must now find ways to cover the shortfall to ensure their children can continue their education uninterrupted. These funds, which are sent to schools in 3 tranches in a year, where schools receive 50% of the amount per learner in the first term, 30% in the second term, and 20% in the third term, has faced a blow due to the late disbursement. According to the financial year 2023-2024 budget, capitation funds are allocated as follows. Free primary education 10.3 billion shillings, junior secondary school 25.5 million shillings, free day secondary education 65.3 million shillings, school feeding program 4.9 billion shillings, schools examinations and invigilation 5 billion shillings, and infrastructure development in junior secondary school 3.4 billion shillings. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has appealed to secondary school principals to be patient with the government on the release of capitation funds, saying the government is committed to releasing the resources to facilitate smooth running of operations.
Much as we regret those delays, it's beyond anything that government can do, because we have to collect taxes, manage them, and distribute them in accordance with the budget. So I really want to ask for your indulgence. We will try as much as possible to give you the first priority, which we always do by first making sure we release your salaries, and we will try as much as we can to make sure that the capitation is released on time.
Parents are now urging the government to release capitation funds to ease financial pressure and support lenient payment plans to complement parents' contributions. Mwita Njambi, KUTV.
Street cleaners in Narok Town are on strike demanding payment from a county-hired contractor after working for the past 5 months without pay. The workers urge the county government to hold the contractor accountable and to direct immediate payment, as they vowed to continue the strike until they receive their overdue salaries.
In Narok Town, street cleaners have initiated a strike, claiming they have not received payments from a county-hired contractor. Lydia Wanjiko, a striking cleaner, expressed her frustration, stating that despite their dedication, they haven't been compensated.
Kuna kenye tunataka kuomba. Tunataka pesa yetu itoke on time. Sababu sasa imefika mahali tuko na miezi 5 bila pesa. Sisi tunalipa kodi, tunalipia watoto school fees. Sisi kwetu wanakula. Hatuna pesa tunaona. Saizi tumeamua hatufanyi kazi.
Wanjiko also recounted an incident from the previous year when they were sent to Masai Mara for work but never received compensation for the work done.
Kuna siku tulipelekwa Mara, tukafanya kazi Mara. Pesa ya Mara hatukuiona kutoka last year. Mpaka saa hii hatujaona hiyo pesa ya Mara. Mbona sisi tumekuwa kunyanyaswa ama sisi tunataka tusaidike ama tunafaa kunyanyaswa basi? Sisi tukenye tunaomba tu governor. Pesa zetu ukishatupea sisi hatakubodha tena. Pesa tu ndio tuna.
Another cleaner, Kibendera Call, attributed the strike to persistent non-payment, criticizing the county government's nepotism practices. Call stressed the need for a fairer system, ensuring workers have advocates in times of need.
Tunaomba hii serikali kama inaweza peana ile kazi, isiwe inapeana kazi kwa familia ya uongozi. Inatafuta kando mtu wa kumpatia mbali na ule uongozi. Kwa sababu ukienda kuuliza ule mtu, uende ukaelezea ule governor, pesa yetu imepotea. Hata kuwa na nguvu ya kuuliza ule mtu kwa sababu ni familia. Sisi tunaomba kama hii pesa italipwa, tulipwe pesa zetu na watafute mtu mwingine ambaye atasimama na haki na atajali masilahi ya wamama na vijana.
Dickson Manyega, also among the striking cleaners, highlighted the contract terms which stipulated monthly payments. He also stated that they are vowed to continue the strike until they receive their overdue salaries.
Wakati tuliandikwa kazi, tuliambiwa pesa ni mwisho wa mwezi. Lakini tumevumilia hii miezi yote 5, hatujaipata hata shilingi. Tukiuliza pesa, mwingine anafuta. Tukiuliza hivi, unafutwa kazi. Kwa hivyo bwana gavana, tunakuambia lipa watu wa county wa kufanya usafi. Ndio maisha mzuri ya county yaendelee. Ikilipo hata tupewe pesa saa hii town itang'ara. Tukipewa pesa saa hii, kuondoa uchafu ni dakika 1 na kuirudisha ni dakika 1. Tutazidi kurudi uchafu, hii barabara ichafuke mpaka tupewe pesa.
The plight of the cleaners continues as they demand justice and fair treatment from the county contractor. With the strike now stretching on, the workers' determination remains unwavering as they call on the county government for immediate intervention. Doris Chalo, KUTV.
We are taking a very short break. Sports is on the other side of the break.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audiovisual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Low
Lola is an app that gives you a chance to watch videos, listen to audios, and read articles wherever you are for free. Motivational stories, dramas, campus life, technology, lifestyle, adventure, sports, academics, jobs, entertainment, and more. Download Lola now on Play Store. All you need, you got Lola.
Are you healthy, or rather, do you maintain a healthy lifestyle? According to WHO, health is regarded as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. Welcome to Focus on Health, a show on all matters health, wellness, and lifestyle. On this show, we cover a wide variety of topics, inclusive of, but not limited to, dental, optical, mental, reproductive health, and so much more. Join me, Joy Bofenda, every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. on KUTV for compelling insights and discussions on all matters health. See you then.
Focus on Health, your weekly dose of health and wealth information on KUTV.
Welcome back, and in sports tonight, Kenya is set to open their first match of World Rugby Under-20 Trophy clash against Uruguay at the Hive Stadium in Scotland at 4:30 p.m. East African time. Edmond Omondi will headline Uruguay, USA, and Netherlands. The campaign that kicked off on 29 June 2024 will see Kenya taking on Netherlands on 7th July and conclude their Pool B fixtures with a clash against USA on 12th July. And Spain secured a convincing 4-1 win over Georgia in the UEFA Euro 2024 clash at Rhein Energy Stadium. Rodri, Fabian Ruiz, Nico Williams, and Dani Olmo were on target for Spain before Robin Lee Norman scored for Georgia a consolation goal in the 18th minute. In today's fixtures, Portugal will face Slovenia at 10 p.m. East African time, and in the just concluded match between Belgium and France, France are now through to the semi-finals after edging out Belgium 1-0. That is it from us. Thank you so much for choosing KUTV News at night and for keeping it KUTV this far. Our sign language interpreter tonight has been John Opio and Anyango Sylvia. Have a good night.